Russia just launched 400 drones in a single night against Ukraine, the largest aerial assault of the war. But within hours, NATO had already begun implementing a response that will fundamentally change the balance of this conflict forever. The speed and precision of the Western reaction reveals why Putin's military strategy is doomed to fail, regardless of how many weapons he throws at Ukraine. But what happened in the 24 hours after Russia's massive attack demonstrates a level of technological and organizational superiority that Putin simply cannot match. But the most devastating aspect of NATO's response isn't just its effectiveness, it's its sustainability, creating a cycle of military support that will outlast anything Russia can produce. You need to understand why this moment represents the beginning of the end for Putin's military ambitions, because the coordination you're about to see will determine the outcome of this entire war. On the night of July 15-16, 2025, Vladimir Putin ordered what military analysts are calling one of the most desperate attacks of the entire war. Russian forces launched 400 Shahed-type drones and decoy drones from multiple directions, targeting Ukrainian cities with an intensity designed to overwhelm air defenses and break Ukrainian morale. According to the Institute for the Study of War, this massive assault was launched from Bryansk, Kursk, Smolensk Oblast, Krasnodar Krai, Rostov Oblast, and occupied Crimea, representing the largest coordinated drone attack in the conflict's history. The targets were primarily civilian infrastructure in Kryvyi Rih, Kharkiv Oblast, and Vinnytsia, with additional strikes against energy facilities in Mykolaiv and Odessa Oblast. But this attack revealed more about Russian desperation than capability. Despite launching 400 drones, the assault achieved limited strategic impact while exposing the fundamental weakness of Putin's military approach. But what Putin didn't anticipate was how quickly and effectively the West would respond to this escalation. The reaction that followed would demonstrate why Russia's military strategy is fundamentally flawed and doomed to failure. Within hours of the Russian attack, NATO's response revealed the kind of institutional efficiency that Putin's chaotic command structure simply cannot match. General Alexis Grinkowicz, NATO's top military commander in Europe, announced that preparations were fully underway to deliver additional Patriot air defense systems to Ukraine as quickly as possible. January, speaking at a conference in Wiesbaden, Germany, Grinkowicz revealed that NATO was working very closely with the Germans on the Patriot transfer, with guidance to move out as quickly as possible. But this wasn't just military aid. It was a demonstration of the systematic coordination that makes Western victory inevitable. The fact that NATO could announce accelerated weapons deliveries within hours of a Russian attack showed a level of responsiveness that Russia's bureaucratic military structure could never achieve. But the most significant aspect of this response was its precision. Instead of generic promises of support, NATO provided specific timelines, coordination mechanisms, and delivery schedules that demonstrated the kind of professional military planning that Russia has consistently failed to match throughout this conflict. This immediate, coordinated response revealed why Putin's strategy of overwhelming Ukrainian defenses through mass attacks is doomed to fail against Western technological superiority. The true scope of Western coordination became clear when Germany immediately stepped forward with concrete commitments that dwarfed anything Russia could offer its own allies. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius announced that a decision on supplying 2 additional US-made Patriot systems to Ukraine could be reached within days or weeks, while Chancellor Friedrich Merz confirmed that Germany would purchase additional US-made air defense systems specifically to donate to Ukraine. But this commitment went far beyond simple weapons transfers. Germany had already donated 3 of its own Patriot units to Ukraine and was now prepared to buy American systems specifically for Ukrainian use, demonstrating the kind of financial commitment that Putin's allies would never make for Russia. But the most sophisticated aspect of Germany's approach was its integration with broader NATO strategy. By purchasing US systems for Ukrainian use, Germany was creating a sustainable model where Western production could continuously supply Ukrainian defense needs without depleting NATO's own capabilities. This backfill strategy promised to create an endless cycle of military support that Russia's limited industrial capacity could never match. The fact that Germany could make these commitments within hours of the Russian attack revealed the kind of institutional readiness that Putin had never encountered before. But the moment that truly demonstrated NATO's overwhelming advantage came when the alliance announced a coordinated meeting of all Patriot-owning nations for the following week. According to Reuters, this expert-level meeting would be held at NATO's military headquarters Shape near Mons, Belgium, and would be chaired by General Grinkewicz himself. This wasn't just a diplomatic gathering, it was a demonstration of the kind of systematic coordination that makes Russian victory mathematically impossible. The meeting would bring together representatives from the United States, Germany, Netherlands, Poland, and other Patriot-owning nations to coordinate additional deliveries and optimize deployment strategies across Ukraine. But what made this meeting truly devastating for Russian strategy was its speed and scope. Within 48 hours of Russia's largest attack, NATO had organized a multinational coordination meeting involving some of the world's most advanced military technologies. But the most significant aspect of this coordination was its sustainability. Unlike Russia's ad hoc military planning, NATO was implementing systematic processes that could be repeated and scaled indefinitely. This institutional approach to military support promised to outlast any Russian offensive capability, creating a strategic advantage that Putin could never overcome through conventional means. The true genius of NATO's strategy became apparent when military analysts revealed the backfill system that would make Western support virtually unlimited. Secretary of State Marco Rubio explained that capabilities that are in Europe can be moved more quickly than something coming off the production line, but the production line can then be used to backfill the capabilities that others donate. This seemingly simple statement revealed a strategic revolution that Putin had never anticipated. Instead of depleting Western arsenals, donations to Ukraine would trigger increased production that would ultimately strengthen NATO's overall capabilities. But this system created a strategic nightmare for Russian planners. Every successful Ukrainian defense would trigger additional Western production, creating a cycle where Russian attacks actually strengthened their opponent's capabilities. The mathematical implications were staggering. Russia's limited industrial capacity was now competing against the combined production capabilities of the world's largest economies. But the most devastating aspect of this system was its acceleration effect. As Western production ramped up to replace donated systems, the overall capacity for supporting Ukraine would increase exponentially, creating a strategic advantage that would compound over time. Putin had walked into a trap where his own attacks were funding the expansion of his enemy's capabilities. Recognizing the existential threat posed by this coordinated response, Western leaders began implementing a comprehensive strategy designed to exploit Russia's fundamental weaknesses. President Trump's announcement of additional weapons deliveries, combined with threats of 100% tariffs on Russian oil buyers, created a two-pronged approach that attacked both Russia's military capabilities and economic foundations simultaneously. But the sophistication of this strategy went far beyond simple sanctions. By targeting countries that purchase Russian oil rather than Russia itself, the West was forcing Putin's allies to choose between access to Western markets worth tens of trillions of dollars or continued support for a regime worth $2 trillion. China and India, Russia's largest oil customers, suddenly faced the prospect of losing access to American markets if they continued supporting Putin's war machine. But the most brilliant aspect of this approach was its use of economic leverage to achieve military objectives. Instead of matching Russia's military escalation, the West was using its economic superiority to systematically eliminate Russia's ability to sustain military operations. This strategy promised to achieve what military force alone could never accomplish: the complete isolation of Russia from the global economy that sustains modern warfare. Today, Putin faces a strategic reality that his military advisors have been reluctant to acknowledge. Russia is fighting an opponent with unlimited resources, superior technology, and systematic coordination that improves with every engagement. The Western response to Russia's largest drone attack has demonstrated capabilities that Putin cannot match through conventional means. NATO's ability to coordinate complex weapons transfers across multiple nations within hours, combined with production systems that turn Russian attacks into opportunities for Western military expansion, has created a strategic trap that Putin cannot escape. Every escalation by Russia triggers a more sophisticated and sustainable response from the West, creating a cycle where Putin's own actions strengthen his opponents while depleting his own capabilities. But the most dangerous aspect of Putin's current position is that the West has learned to coordinate in ways that compound over time. Unlike Russia's chaotic command structure, NATO's systematic approach to military support creates institutional advantages that will only grow stronger as the conflict continues. The question is no longer whether Putin can win this war, it's whether he can EF and a way to end it before his military capabilities are completely eliminated by Western technological and organizational superiority. The events of the past 48 hours have revealed the fundamental asymmetry that will determine this war's outcome. Russia's capacity for destruction versus the West's capacity for systematic response and regeneration. Putin's largest attack triggered a NATO coordination process that will ultimately strengthen Ukrainian defenses far beyond their pre-attack capabilities, demonstrating why Russian military strategy is self-defeating. The combination of superior Western technology, unlimited economic resources, and institutional coordination that improves with every engagement has created a strategic environment where Putin cannot win through conventional means. But the most significant revelation isn't Russia's military limitations. It's the West's discovery of its own systematic advantages and the institutional mechanisms that can leverage those advantages indefinitely. The war that Putin started to demonstrate Russian strength has instead revealed Western capabilities that even NATO itself didn't fully understand until they were tested in actual conflict.